and welcome to the SHRM Labs Workplace Tech Spotlight. My name is Trevor Schachner. I'm a product manager at SHRM Labs, and I'll be your new host for the SHRM Labs series, where we shine a spotlight on some of the most interesting future of work innovators, innovations, and key issues of today. Before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping and some general announcements. The Workplace Tech community is now available for all SHRM members. This is your guide to all things HR technology. You can visit workplacetechcommunity.shrm.org to learn more. Also, we're quickly approaching the kickoff of our Better Workplaces Challenge Cup. This is a pitch competition for startups to get their solutions in front of HR professionals like yourself. These virtual events kick off March 5th, and you won't want to miss it. You can sign up to attend an event at betterworkplaceschallengecup.com. For all of you watching on LinkedIn and other social media platforms, please share this live stream and tag SHRM. You can use the hashtags SHRM Labs and WorkplaceTech. Really excited for this topic today. We've got a great speaker in store, and the topic we're talking about today is AI and how it can help create better managers. So it's no secret that managers directly affect the well-being of employees and workplace culture. Studies by SHRM have consistently highlighted the pivotal role managers play in shaping workplace environments and influencing employee well-being and productivity. With the integration of artificial intelligence into management practices, it's not only changed the way managers operate, but has also enhanced their capabilities in ways we couldn't have imagined even a few years ago. From personalized coaching tools to AI-driven analytics, performance assessments, the roles of AI in shaping effective leadership is undeniable. And today we're going to explore how these technologies are not just assisting managers, but really making them into more efficient, empathetic, and strategic leaders. We've got a great guest to join us today, Justin Lessard-Wajcer. Justin, thanks so much for being here. And before we begin, I'd love if you could tell us a little bit about you, your role, and your company.
Thank you, Trevor. Hi, everyone. Thank you to the SHRM Labs for inviting me today. So my background is in neuroscience. I worked as a researcher for the last decade at the intersection of neuroscience, artificial intelligence, emotional intelligence, and how all this applies to the future of work. So my goal is and has always been to help people manage people. You know, the historic and fundamental issue that we all have at some points in our life, especially managers, right? And so through that research, all these years, I founded Nurau a couple of years ago, which is a tech startup that effectively elevates the employee experience in organizations with AI-driven coaching for managers in particular. So that's kind of my background. So thank you for the invitation, and thank you all for being here with us today.
Absolutely. And yeah, just a quick side note, I met Justin only maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah,
And during our first conversation, I could just tell the excitement and the passion. So really, really glad we could have you on the show. So thanks so much for being here.
my pleasure.
Cool. Let's jump into some questions. We only have about 15 to 20 minutes, so we'll try to make it quick. But curious from your perspective, what's been the biggest shift for managers in the past couple of years?
Well, there's a couple of different variables that we saw. I think the world not only changed, but the workplace has changed since COVID. It was a big shift, and I think there was this rise in responsibility that managers faced with COVID. Organizations were putting a lot more responsibilities, weight on managers' shoulders without necessarily the right training or the right resources or support through all that. So it created a lot of this burnout culture in management levels and all management levels, but especially on the front lines. When we talk about retail, the retail industry, for example, store managers, they have a lot to deal with. Add to that the fact that workplaces are becoming more and more complex, more and more difficult to navigate. Talking about diversity and inclusion initiatives that have to be put in place, neurodiversity that we have to, consider, mental health challenges. These are all kind of stuff that managers now need to deal with, and what I believe is that managers don't have the right tools to effectively do that. So that's kind of what's been happening since COVID, is this big shift where organizations are just putting more and more pressure and responsibility on the front lines and on managers in particular.
Absolutely. And that's such an interesting point. I mean, from my experience, a lot of people become managers not quite on purpose, right? There are some people that become it on purpose, but sometimes it just happens. And
Yeah.
those are definitely the people that could use a tool like yours and also just general knowledge and upskilling about becoming a manager, right?
Yeah, and when we're interviewing, our users and stuff, we're seeing how managers usually are very good at their job before, they were an employee, they were very good at their jobs, and then the only way to grow within the organization is to go into a management role, and that doesn't necessarily come with that extra training and that extra, you know, uh, those extra resources. So it's a lot on their shoulders. People want to
Mhm.
develop in an organization, but they need that support. They need the right tools.
Absolutely. And I guess to pivot into, a specific tool, with the rise of AI, why is this kind of the right choice for upskilling management? And, more indirectly, how does it end up impacting HR teams down the line?
Well, on multiple fronts. I think since a couple years, but especially last year with the rise of generative AI, we've seen this huge shift of focus in AI technologies in HR. We weren't talking about that too much a couple years ago. Now it's kind of Gartner came out with that the top trend in HR 2024 is AI. So a lot of people are thinking about how is AI going to impact my teams and HR. And I think AI is an amazing tool to elevate the manager's experience, not to replace managers. And I'm sure we're going to talk about it a little later, probably. But AI is not there to replace managers because managers need to be there to support and coach their employees and their teams and their fundamental aspects and drivers for success of their teams and their stores or their organization. But AI can help them do their job, help them manage their people better. And as a startup, we were a lean startup for quite a while, testing and implementing different solutions and different services to organizations, hearing what worked, what didn't work. And trust me, a lot of stuff didn't work, but eventually it did. And what we found out is that AI was able to coach managers at any time of day now, right? AI was available 24/7 at their fingertips. We don't have to join live trainings that was difficult for schedules. And so, what we hear from managers is that managers need that type of support, and it could be emotional support, could be guidance at any time of day before a difficult conversation with an employee, before trying to pump up their teams a Monday morning to increase motivation. Managers need that support at any time of day. It's not just limited to a coaching session once a month or something like that. So AI made that accessible, possible in the last couple of years, and that's what Neuro is really putting forward. Right? Is that possibility of your managers at all levels of your organization to get that support, to get that coaching at any time of day. And the other aspect, which is interesting, is that the AI could learn from your managers, learn from your organization, right? So more that people use the solution or use AI, more that the solution gets better and better and better and can proactively address issues before that the manager even feels like they need that support or need that coaching. So it becomes this kind of collective intelligence for an organization that is extremely, extremely valuable to upskill and train future leaders in an organization, etc. So AI is a great fundamental tool. And when we talk to HR professionals know that AI is the next thing. They don't quite know how. And when we present Neuro, it's a very applied way of using AI for people management, reducing the number of claims that rise in the organization, the number of people issues that reach HR business partners by helping managers on the front lines become more independent, right? And be able to solve their issues more quickly and more effectively.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And something you touched on that I want to make sure I came back to was the idea of artificial intelligence kind of augmenting and supporting the people in the roles, not replacing. And I
Yes,
think that's a core view of SHRM and SHRM Labs is that AI is here to assist and to help and to
yes,
train. And it'll never be a replacement. We believe in the AI, the artificial intelligence plus human intelligence is really going to be the key driver. So love that you touched on that, and absolutely true for HR and for managers. So yeah, on the AI side of things, how does it really help a manager understand the unique needs of a team member? How does that kind of play out in your tool and also kind of more widely?
Well, I'll give you a little example of how our tool works, and I think it's gonna, give a nice understanding of how AI can help managers in specific cases. But how our coach works, well, the first step is a manager lists their top challenges, what is going on in their teams, to help us better tailor their coach, right? What type of personality they are, what type of management style they have. We ask a couple questions. Then they can input employee profiles. That's a new feature that we're developing to model team dynamics and better help them have conversations with specific members on their team. And an example that that hit my mind now is somebody, a manager had a situation with an employee that had specific needs. This employee was a neurodiverse employee, was on the spectrum, and didn't understand that this employee was having a very hard time with the music in their workplace. And the music was a little too loud, but the employee didn't feel comfortable to tell their manager because everyone seemed to be fine with it. When that employee had specific issues that were going on, the manager went on the platform to see how can I resolve this issue about performance and productivity in this case. And one of the questions that we asked the manager through the platform was, well, did you consider that this employee could be neurodiverse? And if so, this is the different things that this employee would need in their workplace. So how do you adapt their workplace for them? And in this case, it was the noise in the office. So how do we put that employee perhaps in a better environment, or we reduce the sound? These are all different suggestions and action plans that our platform gave this manager. And it just opens the manager's eyes to all the possibilities. It's not always the employee's fault. It could be a mental health issue. It could be, a neurodiversity issue. It could be all kinds of different issues that a manager they don't necessarily think right away. So by coaching the manager to deal with all those issues, it becomes very interesting and useful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not something, again, a manager is classically trained on all the time, right? And so to have something, you know, by your side that can help you
Yeah.
in a situation where you don't know what to do as a
Unbiased,
manager.
impartial, right? Because we feel, again, through speaking with managers, that they feel sandwiched sometimes, right? Well, most of the time, I feel that way myself in my organization, right?
Mhm.
I don't necessarily have a supervisor, but I have investors. And then on the other side, I have my employees. And who do I speak to concerning the challenges that I have? Right. And that's the same in a store where managers have supervisors, where they have their employees. Who do they talk to right now? And that's why
Mhm.
we see such great adoption with our product, is that managers feel like, yeah, Neuro is the person, is the place. I won't call it a person, but
Mhm.
is a place where they can get suggestions and advice that's unbiased, that is personalized to them, that is confidential and private, and can help them do their job better on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted to touch on, one more thing around, a manager's judgment of some of these situations, like the example you mentioned. But, how does a manager end up balancing an AI recommendation with kind of their own judgment? Obviously, there is something to say about human intuition, right? Curious what your thoughts are on that.
Well, listen, my background even before AI was, mental health research and emotional intelligence, and that side. So I truly believe that we can't replace a human's intuition, and that's why managers and employees are not to be replaced, is because that intuition is so strong, and you know that gut feeling is what leads the way. However, how I see AI coming into that is AI can better make sure that that intuition is the right intuition in specific cases, right? And we see even managers that have a lot of experience in management go on our platform to make sure that their intuition and their judgment is the right one, considering their policies, internal policies, considering the legislation of their specific state, in terms of employee relations. So it helps them, check mark, make sure that their intuition is right. And for younger, more junior managers, it helps them build that intuition, because you're not necessarily born with management intuition, or having that gut feeling. You have to have that experience behind you, and that wisdom. And I think that AI, and in this case, training and developing your managers, um, is fundamental to developing that intuition, but it's not going to replace that intuition.
Mhm. Absolutely. No, I 100% agree. And, for myself, I was managing an intern for the first time ever. I could
Okay.
have absolutely used something like this last year. It would have been a phenomenal training tool. I did do a normal training, but again, it's something that's right by your side at all times to really kind of help you through certain situations. So,
Yeah.
love the work that you all are doing. I guess, to look forward a little bit, what do you think is next for AI and upskilling managers and management in general? And then is there anything you think, the people out there should know about that's kind of coming down the line?
Yeah. Well, I think AI is, well, even if I say something, it's going to change in the next month. Like, there's so many things going on. But at the moment, what I'm most excited about is emotional large language models, deep large language models. So models that are able to better understand emotions. That's where we're positioning Neuro. Is coaching is not just AI that is generic AI. It has to better understand human dynamics, emotional dynamics within organizations, within teams, within people. And I think that's going to be the next frontier, is for AI to have that more of an emotional understanding of things. And we're investing heavily in research and development in that space. And I know a lot of people also in different companies are investing in this space too. So that's the next thing to look for, because I think AI driven coaching is the way to go for the future of management. That's for sure.
Mhm. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, before we go, would love to give you an opportunity to let the audience know where they can find more about you, where they can find some useful resources about this topic, but also about your product. So I'll turn it over to you to let them know.
Well, there might be some links in the chat, but our goal at Neuro is to make the world work better together, through AI-driven coaching. AI is instrumental to elevating the manager experience in organizations. And why managers? Is because managers have this huge and outsized influence on the overall employee experience, and thus on the client experience, right? So managers are at the heart of all that. So that's the first place where organizations should invest in. So I invite everyone to check us out, nurau.com, nurau.com, for more information on our product. We also have a great podcast on our website for managers, so mindful managers, and a couple other series of podcasts with experts in the field and research, speaking about top management concerns from the front lines all the way up. We have also the possibility of booking a demo through our website to see how you can apply AI-driven coaching for your managers. So that's where we're at.
Awesome. Well, Justin, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I'm excited to get a chance to talk again. So thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Have a great Friday, everyone.
Awesome. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we're going to have for this episode. But thank you again to Justin for joining. And again, you can check out a little bit more about Neuro at nurau.com. And really, I'd highly encourage you to take demos of new workplace technology solutions. It's worth the time, to just upskill, to learn, and to see what's coming down the line. So make sure to take the time. But if you enjoyed this live stream, please share it with your friends. Use the hashtag SHRM Workplace Tech, and SHRM. And you can always visit shrmlabs.com to stay up to date. We will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining us.